First is, it's really important to emphasise that the US and the UK are working together every single day, as they always have. Obviously, in relation to Iran, the US are now using UK air bases under the agreement that we've reached. But more generally than that, intelligence is being shared every day. In the region, we have our military personnel and US military personnel co-located in the same places, in the same bases. And both the US and the UK are working together, protecting those bases. So in terms of the relationship, the work that we necessarily have to do together is going on as you'd expect. I had a telephone call with President Trump yesterday talking about the conflict in Iran and the region and what we were doing together, and that was important in terms of the ongoing discussion. But the discussion with our US counterparts is happening at all levels, all of the time, every single day. That's the nature of the relationship. What I would say is this, is that decisions about what's in Britain's best interests are decisions for the Prime Minister of Britain. And that's how I've approached all of the questions and all the decisions that I've had to make. It is really important, that's a fundamental principle, that it is the UK Prime Minister, who everybody expects, the people of the United Kingdom would expect, that the UK Prime Minister would make the decisions using our values, our principles, in the best interest of our country. And it's really important that we are very, very clear about that principle. We're obviously working more generally with leaders and allies across the region, both in relation to the defensive work that needs to go in and in relation to the work to get people out of the region. Is this really sad feature in many ways of a conflict like this, which is some people will try to use it to divide communities in this country and tear people apart. And we mustn't let that happen. I find one of the most powerful arguments that if you think of all the people who are stuck in the region, anxious about their own safety, wanting to get home, they come from all backgrounds. They come from all walks of life. And the last thing they want, or their families here want, is anybody trying to divide. Because this is a time when we need to come together as a country, stand behind our principles and our values, and not let people divide us. Put a lot of reassurance work in with both the Muslim community and the Jewish community in particular, because that's where people seek to try and find a divide. In relation to the conflict in Iran, look, it is important that we do everything we can to protect international allies in the region, particularly those who are neighbouring countries who've played no part in any of the offensive actions. So there are many in the region who are being subjected to strikes, missiles and drones, even though they played no part. And that is a threat to civilians, it's a threat to our civilians who are in the region, it's a threat to our personnel who are in the region, our military personnel, and of course to the people living there. And therefore it's right for us to be working with those countries to put in as much capability as we can to deal with those incoming missiles, deal with those incoming drones, and make sure we take down the threat assessment there. More generally, and in answer to your question, we do need to find a way to de-escalate the situation, and that's what a lot of our discussions are about. How do we find a way to de-escalate this situation and make sure it doesn't escalate even further than it already has?